Hello, everyone. We are in week 7. I hope you all had a great weekend. Again, I'm sorry this came out on Tuesday, but with the way that I jumped it up a week, it's basically a week after the last video, so hopefully that's not too big of a deal. Otherwise, yes, I'm excited. We are in the second to last week. Next week will be the last week, and that's what the second to last week means, so... but yeah, so it's looking good. I got through all of your outlines. I'm working on the drafts I've been turning so far, although I did extend the due date to Wednesday because I wasn't able to get those drafts due. I was had to go out of town again, so I didn't have as much time to work on them as I would have liked, but that's why I gave you some extra time. But I'm really happy with what you all did through the outline. I think that for the most part, everybody did a pretty fantastic job. There were some people that are still working with not scholarly sources or not enough scholarly sources, and that's a problem, but I've talked to you about that multiple times at this point. But otherwise, most of you have a fantastic organizational structure. You have a good understanding of how to cite in text. You have found pretty relevant evidence, and you're able to explore that evidence. So I'm really happy with where you are right now. I mean, some of you had such a detailed outline that really you're just going to be finding that connective tissue and really just expanding on what you already have, but you already have a pretty close to complete first draft. So I was really excited to see that. That's going to make your life a little bit easier. So yeah, fantastic work as always. You guys have been great this semester. Yeah, so this week, week 7, you only have one assignment, and that is the reverse outline exercise. It was originally going to be a Wednesday assignment, but it got pushed back to Sunday because the draft got pushed to Wednesday, so a little bit of wiggle room. I try to always have a little bit in the semester because stuff happens. Usually not this much stuff, but you never know when students are going to need a little more time, and this time it was me needing more time. So, yeah. So the reverse outline is so I want to go through. So you have chapter 18 to read today. It's only, 12 pages. It just goes over revising and editing and proofreading because that's what we're going to be working on after the draft is done. There's a document that has... Where's that document, or is that a link to the... So yeah, there's a document that has just some key suggestions for revision. The library guide should also have some good stuff. But if you read the chapter and you read the suggestions and do a little bit more work on that front, you're really looking good on that front. Again, all of you have taken 101, and most 101 classes have some kind of drafting going on. So it's a process that you at least have some passing familiarity with. So you'll have the actual essay due this Wednesday, and then you'll have, or the draft due this Wednesday, and then you'll have the reverse outline due on Sunday. Now the reverse outline sounds like it could be a little tricky, but really all you have to do is download the assignment and go through the steps, which is a lot of it, but this is even more step-full. You might think about, why would I reverse my outline, and why would I do it in such a summarized way? And really the answer to that is, it's going to help you focus on organization and clarity about the union of, sort of the unity of your paper and how things transition from one to the other. It really is meant to be a tool that can help you figure out, when you might make things a little smoother, where you might, if you have an idea that you front load in the paper, you might say to yourself, well, this might actually be a better second paragraph or, body point. And it's hopefully not too difficult. Basically what you're going to find yourself doing is, I mean, it can be difficult in a sort of cerebral way. You have to do a lot of thinking to think how you would summarize each paragraph. But as far as like actual words on the page, it's not going to be a pages thing. It's probably only going to be the spaces that are being fulfilled for you. So each section of this, or each like fill in the blank of this assignment is going to be you summarizing each paragraph in only one sentence. This is going to really lay bare what each paragraph's about, if it's necessary, if it makes sense in order. It might help you. One thing that's very useful is it can help you think about transition sentence statements. Sometimes when we're writing paragraphs, when we're writing papers, and we're moving between sections and paragraphs, we might not necessarily always think to make useful or interesting transitions. And this will help with that. You'll see, okay, if my paragraph 3 is about something and paragraph 4 doesn't have it isn't a natural jump, then you think, okay, could I write a transition sentence that is going to make that jump easier? Or that might be a good case of something like, okay, well, does this bunch up better with other paragraphs? Because oftentimes when you write a paper, and a lot of this is mitigated by the outline, but even with an outline, sometimes you'll organize stuff in such a way where you're like, okay, this is sort of the chronological order I'm going in, and that's how a lot of us write. So by being able to step back and look like, oh, these 2 points don't work together. Oh, these 2 points are a little disconnected. Let me make sure that I have a transition. Grouping stuff up or finding those transitions is a very valuable thing. And that's what this assignment does. It's sort of a simple way to step back and say to yourself, what is the core of each of these paragraphs? How do they work together? Can I improve the organization? How can I improve the unity? When we're thinking about papers, oftentimes we don't think about unity. It's something like at the higher levels, like college, we do start thinking about. And that's just how things are united throughout, how things work together and mesh. This is a sort of big picture concept. We're talking about like pacing. We're talking about, we're talking about everything from pacing at the like page level or in the paper level, to is this sentence helping lead to the other sentences, which is, I guess, is pacing. But we're looking at these different levels. Is it working on a sentence level? Is it working on a paragraph level? Is it working on a paper level? So hopefully that's what this will help with. One of the many things. Again, it's a pretty straightforward assignment. The instructions are pretty good. After you get done with those paragraphs, you're basically going to then have a space to write 2 things you learned about the structure of your essay. And these will be a little bit more, these will be more than one sentence. I want you to be a little bit more detailed here, a small paragraph. That's why there's a decent amount of space for it in this document. I don't necessarily want you just to be like, I learned that I'm disconnected or disorganized, because that's not actually helpful. The whole idea behind these 2 paragraphs, and most of these, is to reflect. Think to yourself, okay, by doing this, I really got this specific thing out of it, and this is going to help me in this way. But otherwise, it's a pretty straightforward question. It might take some time, because you're really going to have to think about this, but at the same time, it's basically going to be, maybe 15, 20 sentences, depending on how many paragraphs you end up having, anywhere from 10 to 20. So, some of you are going to have bigger, chunkier paragraphs, and some of you are going to stick to small, more, and a good paper is going to have a mix of that. And then, those 2 paragraphs. So hopefully that's not too much work. In regards to the rest of the week, again, your draft will be due tomorrow. I'll have those comments done hopefully for Sunday. That'll give me 4 days to work on it. I can't really anticipate it being too much longer than that. I also was able to move the revision to Sunday instead of Friday, because I had initially thought that the grades were due on the 21st or the 20th, but they're actually due on the 23rd, so I was able to push you back a little bit. So with all the other pushing back, that hopefully if I'm correct, yeah, due on the 23rd, so that will, that'll give you those extra couple days. It'll give you a full week instead of the only like 5 days that you might have had if it was due on that Friday. Yeah, so we're really wrapping up the semester. Next week will be the last week. I'll do a video, but it'll be pretty short. And yeah, I don't anticipate this being too bad. You guys have put in a lot of work. Your outlines show me that you're already most of the way there. I'll get you your comments to your drafts, and then, you'll work forward from there. Again, as always, I like to end on this. If you have any questions or comments, if you have any questions, email me, or comments, I suppose. If you, I've had a lot of students email me with questions or asking for extensions or whatever. I'm almost always flexible, as the people I know emailed me. If you can get a hold of me before, either before something or slightly after, like, I'm usually willing to help out, and a good portion of you know that by now. Also, the library can help you with your research. At this point, a lot of you probably have your research solidified, but it's not unlikely for you at the end of the day to still be looking for better sources or new sources. And the Writing Center, as always, they can help you at any stage. So, if you're at the draft and you have the comments back, or even before you get the comments, you can show up and be like, okay, I'm kind of worried about these things, or I'd like to get your ideas on my thesis or my conclusion, or how are these body paragraphs working together, and they'll sit down with you and they can really help you focus on a thing. And I think the sessions, are a half hour to an hour. I think you can request those differences. Maybe 45 minutes, it's been a while. And you can, make appointments for multiple days. So if you really want to see them even multiple times a week, that's cool. I've already talked about all this, but I just want to keep encouraging it. Okay. Well, I don't have too much else to say. And I've noticed that my shorter videos tend to get more views, which means people, so I don't want to drag this out. So thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.